Alright, this is take 4 of this video because I'm fairly certain that the camera was not aimed before. It probably still isn't, but I'm sure somebody will let me know. Greetings everybody from the smoking deck. I am your wicked Uncle Squinty, Paul Shellbetter, with some very important information about the new FDA regulations, sometimes called the Deeming regulations, that go into effect in August of 2016. And how they may or may not affect us, the nasal snuff users. I need to fortify myself. Think that's a good idea? I'm going to fortify myself with a little bit of this delicious Molin's Macuba. And I've got some news about Molin's too that is not good news, so stick with me here. It would help if I got some snuff on my boxcar. Yeah, beautiful day here in southeastern Minnesota, looking for a daytime high of 77, and maybe some thunderstorms a little later, we'll find out. All right, let's talk about these regulations. Now, these regulations are 500 pages worth of governmental gobbledygook, doublespeak, jargon, and very questionable statistics. I mean, very questionable statistics. One of the contentions made by this 500-page document is that there are 150,000 high school-aged tobacco pipe smokers in this country. I didn't know there were 150,000 pipe smokers in the United States, period, let alone at high school age. Where did they get that statistic? But in the interest of protecting public health, reducing health care costs, and of course protecting the children, even though there are laws in place that are supposed to prevent access to tobacco by minors that have been on the books since the 1950s, but no, we gotta protect the children! You know what? If you want to know a law is nonsense and has no logical basis to exist, just look for the phrase, it's for the children. Guarantee it. All right, but the biggest thing about this law that could affect us, the snuff-taking community, is that while nasal snuff is not specifically mentioned in the regulations, the FDA has given themselves umbrella powers, godlike, hammer-wielding power to control anything containing nicotine, including tobacco. And they specifically enumerate cigarettes, cigars, pipe tobacco, snus, dip. They don't specifically mention nasal snuff. However, since their powers include the control of all things tobacco, the regulations apply to nasal snuff. Most significantly, any tobacco product introduced after February 2007 will need to be approved for sale by the FDA. So you think, well, what, $100 fee, fill out a little form, you're good to go. No, 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 no. If only it were that simple. The FDA will require extensive laboratory testing and analysis at the expense of the tobacco company. So you're saying to yourself, well, what could that cost? You know, a couple $1,000 maybe? Go to a laboratory, break it down with a gas spectrometer or other cool stuff you see on NCIS or, you know, CSI. No, 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 no. They're saying it could cost as much as $1 million. And that's the FDA saying this. $1 million per product. So that means, let's say, as an example, my good friends at McClelland Tobacco. Let's say they've introduced a dozen tobaccos since 2007. I have no idea how many they've actually introduced. But let's say it's a dozen. You think they're going to be able to come up with upwards of $12 million to get those blends approved? Now let's switch over to the snuff mills, the small snuff mills. Sir Walter Scott's, Abraxas, even Toke, Rosinski. What about the artisans? All of them have introduced numerous new varieties of snuff since February 2007. You mean to tell me that Nigel at Abraxas is going to be able to come up with $8 million to approve 8 new nasal snuffs? Now, we may skate on some of this because the snuffs are manufactured in England or in Germany or Belgium or Switzerland, and they're or England, and then they're shipped here. You know, it's kind of a gray area, and we may skate on this, and they may not go after nasal snuff. But then again, they've given themselves the power to do so under these regulations. So, here are my 3 bits of advice, and maybe an observation about the real intention of these regulations. First off, don't panic. I would say if you are a multi-form tobacco user, such as I am, I mean, I smoke cigars, I smoke a pipe, once in a while even burn a cigarette, I once in a while will do Swedish snus, never will I do dip, that stuff's disgusting. And of course nasal snuff, okay? So what you want to do is not panic, do not mortgage your house, do not sell your daughter and or wife into white slavery, do not sell your kidney on eBay, it's not necessary. But you might want to add a little bit to your monthly budget for the acquisition of tobacco so you can slowly build your cellar, your humidor, and your snuff collection, all right? Of particular importance might be to work on your collection of artisan snuffs. Because if in fact this regulation does affect artisans on foreign shores, it's going to be expensive, hard to get, you might not be able to get them at all. So maybe stock up a little more vigorously on your nasal snuffs. That's 1. Number 2, please do get off your ass and send letters to your Congress people, your senator, your senatrix. You've got to let them know of your displeasure with this sweeping, absolute sweeping suppression of your liberty and your freedom to pursue happiness. You know, this is serious business. You've got a government agency making regulations that do have the force of law, even though they've never gone through Congress, gone through the veto or signature process, and have never been tested by the judiciary. They do have the force of law, and they could affect you. So write to your Congress people, but please do not be brutal, do not be ugly, do not be low class, do not use words like shit, piss, fuck, cunt, motherfucker, cocksucker, tits. Okay? You know better than that. Write the letter carefully, state your case, and if I were you, don't just do an email. Send it via registered mail so someone in your representative's office actually has to sign for it. Put it on some decent stationery. Make it look official. Make it look good. It will get noticed. And for every letter that your representative in Congress receives from you, that might make a change. It might compel the Congress to go after the FDA and say, what the hell are you doing? This is not necessary. This is unfair. This is unjust. Maybe. I mean, you never know. It could help. So do write those letters. The third thing is certainly stay calm and understand what I believe to be the real purpose of this regulation. I think, as does Mutton Chop Piper, who did an amazing video about all this stuff about a week ago. Check him out. Go to his channel. It's a great video on the Deeming regulations, these new FDA regulations. So go check that out. But he believes, and I agree with him, that what they're really going after are electronic cigarettes, vaping. And let's face it, that particular business needs some regulation. There's an awful lot of kitchen blenders. Yeah, they probably blend clean, nice juice in their kitchens. They probably keep it clean. But there are no inspection standards, there are no purity laws, and sadly, because they are perceived as being safe, they are not. They might be safer, but nothing involving inhaling stuff into your lungs is completely safe, okay? But because they're deemed as being safer, a lot of parents are really lax if their kids want to start vaping. So there's an awful lot of underage vaping going on. That's not from any kind of statistical survey or anything. That's just from my intuition and what I've encountered among the young friends that I have or the families that I know who have kids who vape. So there probably needs to be some regulation there, although probably not as much. And maybe the FDA is using the combustible tobacco and oral tobacco and nasal tobacco thing as a wedge to get what they really want, which is some control over electronic cigarettes. Finally, I have a request to tobacco retailers. Pipes and cigars, listen to me. Four noggins, listen to me. Smoking pipes, listen to me. J&R, Thompson Cigar, Cigars International, cigars.com, listen to me. On your websites, you must start identifying tobacco products that were introduced after February 2007. Whether it's Mississippi River and Plum Pudding from Seattle Pipe Club, Dark Red from Lane Limited, some of the acid cigars from Drew Estates, you got to put on the product page that that product was introduced after February 2007, because those are going to be the tobacco products that become either unavailable or overpriced because of the compliance with the regulations. And people will want to buy those during the 2-year compliance window that we have beginning in August of 2016. That's right, companies have 2 years to be fully compliant with the new regulations and get the testing done and all that. So you've got a little time, people, to buy those products that were introduced after 2007, but only if you know which ones were introduced after February 2007. Am I right? All right, this has gone long. I feel compelled to smoke a delicious pipe full of HH Old Dark Fired, and that's what I'm going to do as soon as I shut off the camera from the rather noisy smoking deck. This is your Wicked Uncle Squinty, and I thank you as always for watching. Don't panic, guys. Just write some letters to your congressman and, letters to your congressman, and buy your tobacco slowly and carefully, and don't panic, and convince your local retailers to tell you which products were introduced after 2007. And I hope I was on camera, guys. I probably wasn't. I know you'll tell me, but here's the deal. I had yet another beautiful young lady say, "Oh, he's so weird to watch. It's really uncomfortable to watch him because you never know where those blind eyes are looking. His eyes are all over the place, and it gives me the willies, and yet somehow it wrecks my clitoris and makes me wet. I just don't like it because he's blind and he's really weird looking. And he's blind and he's really weird looking." You know what? I don't give a damn.